As we showed you earlier, Federal Parliament was back, some virtual attendees, quite an historic day from that point of view. Big focus, of course, on the coronavirus pandemic. Scott Morrison apologised over the handling of aged care facilities, of course, where 3/4 of the nation's deaths have occurred. Joining me now from Canberra is Labor's Matt Thistlethwaite. Thanks for joining us, Matt. First up, this apology from Scott Morrison, is that what Labor were after? Are you happy with that?
Well, we welcome the apology, late as it is, Chris, but if you're the family who has a loved one in an aged care facility throughout Australia, I think you want more than an apology. You want a plan. You want a plan to fix some of the problems that have been identified in aged care by this COVID crisis and that are being identified through the Royal Commission. They're problems that relate to the quality of care, the problems that relate to the skills and the qualifications of the staff. I mean, the Liberals changed the laws to ensure that nursing homes don't have to have nurses anymore. And I know if I had a loved one in an aged care facility that got sick at night, you'd want to know that the best quality care is available and the best trained staff are on hand. There's issues with the conditions and the overworked nature of people that work in the industry. Australians want a plan to deal with some of these issues that have been around for some time. Well,
Scott Morrison says there has been a plan and they've been updating it. I've certainly been critical on this program because we've been talking about the need to focus on aged care since February, since long before problems in Australia. I can't believe that state, federal and private authorities haven't done more in this area. Are you happy they're trying to catch up now? We've got the Royal Commission, of course, which is exposing problems, but there's a lot of focus on actually changing rules, changing responses, getting more adequate plans in place, especially in Victoria, but around the rest of the nation too.
Firstly, good on you for concentrating on it. It's been a huge issue and it's something as a local member we get a lot of correspondence and complaints from constituents about. It's not only the in-facility care, it's providing packages for people in the local communities to ensure that they can get care when they need it for people coming to their homes. But in terms of what's going on in the facilities, as you're aware, this has been happening for some time and they relate to the issues I mentioned earlier about quality of care, the pay and conditions of workers. It's about ensuring that Australians get access to the best care possible. These are people that have worked all their lives, given all for our country, and we think that they deserve the best that government can provide through a scheme that makes sure that the providers are up to scratch and that people get the best quality care. So good on you for concentrating on it, Chris.
Well, I've got to give you a free kick on what's happening with the Liberal Party branch stacking in Victoria. We saw what the Labor Party was doing in Victoria earlier this year. The same journalist from the same organisation, 60 Minutes and the 9 newspapers, has exposed some pretty ugly stuff on the Liberal side. The key here is whether paid political staffers should be doing party political work. It's a bit naive to think that they wouldn't, isn't it?
Look, Chris, I think that Australians have had a gutful of this sort of stuff, particularly during the crisis at the moment where plenty of Australians are out of work. All of this sort of stuff looks pretty self-indulgent, and I think Australians are sick of it. What the government needs to do is act quickly. When this happened in the Labor Party, Anthony Albanese, Dan Andrews acted quickly. They sacked a minister. They launched an inquiry straight away. Then there was a couple of other ministers that went in the wake of that. I think Scott Morrison needs to show some leadership and do a similar thing. We've called for Michael Sukkar to be stood down. I think at the very least, while this investigation's going on into whether or not his office was using a taxpayer-funded staffer for branch stacking, he should at least stand down so that there can be a clear inquiry and that Australians can have confidence that we're focusing on the issues that matter to them about their jobs and getting through this coronavirus crisis.
You've literally only got 20 seconds, but can you tell me whether you support or are worried about Daniel Andrews extending emergency powers for another 12 months?
Look, I think Daniel Andrews is doing the right thing. It's obviously based on the advice of medical experts down there. And the key thing here, Chris, in what he's announced is that it will be reviewed every 4 weeks. So there'll be parliamentary scrutiny. It'll have to be reviewed and updated every 4 weeks. And it's about ensuring that the state has the wherewithal to get on top of this virus, to get the numbers down and get us quicker to...
Sorry to cut you off.
Quicker to opening up again.
We get the gist. Thanks very much, Matt Thistlethwaite. Appreciate your time.
Good on you, Chris. Thanks, mate.